The whispers started the moment they walked into the charity gala together. Emma Winters, the notoriously cold-hearted CEO of Winters Enterprises, had her arm linked with James Parker, the same single father she'd ruthlessly demoted just 3 months earlier. If you're enjoying this unexpected twist already, please hit that like button and subscribe to our channel for more emotional stories that will touch your heart. James adjusted his borrowed suit jacket, feeling out of place among the glittering elite. His mind drifted back to that rainy Tuesday when everything had changed, when Emma had seen him with another woman and the walls between them had finally crumbled. But their journey to this moment had been anything but simple. 6 months earlier, James Parker hurried through the sleek glass doors of Winters Enterprises, his tie askew and dark circles shadowing his eyes. He was late, again. The elevator doors were closing, and he lunged forward, barely making it inside. 4th time this month, Parker. James winced at the cool voice. Emma Winters stood in the corner of the elevator, immaculate in a tailored charcoal suit, her auburn hair swept into a perfect chignon. At 35, she was the youngest CEO in the company's history, known for her brilliant mind and merciless efficiency. "I'm sorry, Ms. Winters. My daughter. Save it." Emma's gaze never left her phone. "Your personal problems aren't company concerns." The elevator doors opened, and she stepped out without another glance. James exhaled slowly, straightening his tie. Since his wife's death 2 years ago, balancing his job as marketing director with raising 8-year-old Lily had been nearly impossible. But he needed this job. The medical bills from Sarah's illness had left him drowning in debt. At his desk, a meeting notification flashed on his screen. Executive boardroom. Immediately, James's stomach dropped. The boardroom fell silent when he entered. Emma sat at the head of the table, her expression unreadable. "Parker. Good of you to join us." Her voice carried no warmth. "We were discussing the Richardson account. I've been working on the proposal, which was due yesterday." Emma slid a folder across the polished table. "This is unacceptable. Your work has been slipping for months. I can explain." "I don't need explanations. I need results." Emma's green eyes were cold. "You're being reassigned to the regional team. Effective immediately." The demotion hit like a physical blow. The regional team meant lower pay, fewer hours, but also less prestige. James opened his mouth to protest, then closed it. The regional team meant he could pick Lily up from school on time. Maybe it was a blessing in disguise. "Yes, Ms. Winters." As he gathered his things, he heard the whispers. Everyone knew Emma Winters had no patience for weakness. Her own rise to power had been meteoric and ruthless. Rumors circulated about her past, an engagement broken off years ago, family estrangement. Whatever humanity she might have once possessed seemed long buried beneath ambition. Emma watched James leave the boardroom, ignoring the twinge of something uncomfortable in her chest. Compassion was a luxury she couldn't afford, not in her position. The company needed strong leadership, not sentimentality. Later that evening, she worked alone in her corner office, the city lights glittering below. Her assistant had left hours ago, along with most of the staff. Emma preferred it this way. The silence. The solitude. Her phone buzzed with a text from her mother. "Dinner on Sunday? Your brother's bringing his new girlfriend." Emma set the phone down without responding. Family dinners meant questions about her personal life, subtle digs about her choices. "All work and no life," her mother would say, as if Emma's success was somehow a failure. They didn't understand. Couldn't understand what it had taken to get here, the sacrifices, the hard choices. After what happened with Daniel, she'd learned her lesson. Vulnerability was weakness. And Emma Winters refused to be weak. The regional office was a world away from the gleaming headquarters. James settled into his smaller desk, arranging Lily's crayon drawing of the two of them beside his computer. The demotion stung his pride, but the hours were better. For the first time in months, he'd been able to make Lily's school play. "Daddy, you came," she had squealed, her gap-toothed smile worth every bit of professional humiliation. His new team was welcoming, especially Monica, the team leader. She had children of her own and understood when he needed to leave for school pickups or when Lily was sick. "Single parenting is the hardest job there is," Monica told him over coffee. "You're doing great, James." He wasn't so sure. Every night, after tucking Lily in, he would sit at the kitchen table surrounded by bills. The demotion had come with a significant pay cut. Something would have to give. 3 months passed. Emma rarely thought about James Parker, just one of many staffing decisions she made daily. Until the quarterly review meeting at the regional office. She strode through the modest building, noting inefficiencies, making mental notes. The regional team scrambled around her, nervous energy palpable. Emma paused at an open door, recognizing James at his desk, phone pressed to his ear. "Please, there must be something you can do," he was saying, voice strained. "I can make a partial payment this week, but," he noticed Emma and straightened. "I'll call back." "Thank you." Emma raised an eyebrow. "Problems, Parker?" "Nothing I can't handle, Ms. Winters." His smile didn't reach his eyes. She should have walked away. It wasn't her concern. But something, curiosity, perhaps, made her linger. "The Richardson account has been asking about you. They were impressed with your previous work." Surprise flickered across his face. "That's good to hear. Your replacement isn't working out." Emma kept her voice neutral. "The client misses your personal touch." James nodded slowly. "I enjoyed working with them." An awkward silence stretched between them. Emma noticed the child's drawing on his desk, stick figures holding hands. Something twisted in her chest. "The quarterly review is at 3, she said finally, turning to leave. "Don't be late." The review went well. The regional team was exceeding targets despite limited resources. Emma found herself watching James during his presentation, the passion that returned to his voice when he spoke about his projects, the respect his colleagues clearly had for him. As the meeting concluded, Emma made a decision. "Parker." A word. They stepped into an empty conference room. James looked wary, as if expecting another reprimand. "The Richardson account specifically requested you," Emma said. "I'm reassigning you as their lead, but you'll remain based here rather than headquarters." James blinked. Thank you, Ms. Winters. It's not a favor. It's business." Emma gathered her papers. "They trust you. Don't make me regret this decision." As she turned to leave, James spoke again. "Ms. Winters? Would you like to see what we've been working on for the East Side Mall campaign? It's not in the formal presentation, but I think it might interest you." Emma hesitated, then checked her watch. "You have 15 minutes." Those 15 minutes turned into an hour. James's ideas were innovative, fresh, exactly what the struggling mall account needed. Emma found herself engaged, offering suggestions, building on his concepts. For a brief moment, the CEO-employee dynamic faded, replaced by two professionals collaborating. "You should present this to the client yourself," Emma said finally. "It's good work, Parker." The surprise on his face was almost comical. "Thank you. That means a lot." As Emma drove back to headquarters, she felt oddly unsettled. James Parker was talented, she'd always known that. What surprised her was how easily they had worked together, how quickly she'd forgotten her usual guardedness. It was concerning. The Richardson campaign launched successfully. James found himself in an unexpected position, still based at the regional office with its flexible hours, but handling major accounts again with the salary to match. The financial pressure eased slightly, though the medical bills remained a looming shadow. More surprising was Emma Winter's continued interest in his work. She began stopping by the regional office regularly, sitting in on his team meetings, offering insights. The Ice Queen, as staff called her behind her back, seemed almost human during these visits. One evening, as James was packing up to leave, Emma appeared in his doorway. "The client loved your presentation," she said. "They've increased their budget for next quarter." "That's fantastic news." James smiled, slipping his daughter's latest artwork into his bag. "I should thank Monica too, her research was crucial." Emma nodded, then hesitated. "You're leaving early again." It wasn't quite a question, but James answered anyway. "School pickup. My daughter's in the spring concert tonight." "Ah." Emma shifted, uncomfortable with the personal detail. "Well. Congratulations on the Richardson success." She turned to leave, then paused. "Parker? What's your daughter's name?" The question surprised him. "Lily. She's 8. Emma nodded once, as if filing away the information. "Good night, Parker." Emma sat in her empty apartment that night, a glass of wine untouched beside her. Why had she asked about his daughter? It was irrelevant to work, crossing the professional boundary she maintained with all employees. Her phone buzzed with another ignored text from her mother. Emma sighed and finally replied, "Can't make Sunday. Work." It wasn't entirely a lie. There was always work. Work didn't disappoint you. Work didn't leave when things got difficult. Work didn't die and leave you alone with an 8-year-old child and a mountain of debt. The thought came unbidden, and Emma realized she was thinking of James Parker again. His situation stirred something uncomfortable in her, something that felt dangerously like empathy. Emma took a sip of wine and opened her laptop. Empathy was inefficient. She had a company to run. Spring turned to summer. James settled into his new role, grateful for the balance he'd found. Lily was thriving, her nightmares about losing him too, a frequent occurrence after Sarah died, growing less frequent. "Daddy, can we go to the park after dinner?" Lily asked one evening, her small face serious. "I need to practice cartwheels for gymnastics." "Of course, sweetheart." James ruffled her blonde hair, so like her mother's. "We can stay until the fireflies come out." The neighborhood park was busy with families enjoying the warm evening. James sat on a bench, watching Lily attempt wobbly cartwheels on the grass. "She needs to keep her legs straighter." The familiar voice startled him. Emma Winters stood nearby in running clothes, her auburn hair in a ponytail, so different from her boardroom appearance that James almost didn't recognize her. "Ms. Winters. I didn't know you lived around here." "I don't." She gestured vaguely. "I was running. Training for a half-marathon." Lily bounded over, curious about the newcomer. "Hi. I'm Lily. Who are you?" "This is Ms. Winters," James said. "She's my boss." Emma looked almost panicked at the child's direct attention. "Hello. Want to see my cartwheel?" "Daddy says it's getting better." Before Emma could respond, Lily was demonstrating, her little body tumbling awkwardly on the grass. "You need to keep your arms straight too," Emma said when Lily returned, breathless. "And spot a point in front of you before you start." Lily's eyes widened. "Can you do cartwheels?" A ghost of a smile touched Emma's lips. "Not anymore. But I used to do gymnastics." "Really? Can you show me?" "Lily," James intervened, "Ms. Winters is busy. She's out for a run." "Actually." Emma checked her watch. "I could spare a few minutes." What followed was surreal. Emma Winters, terror of the boardroom, patiently showing an 8-year-old how to position her hands for a proper cartwheel. James watched, fascinated by this glimpse of a different woman than the one he knew. As the sun began to set, Emma straightened. I should continue my run. Thank you for the help, James said. Lily, what do you say? Thank you, Ms. Winters. Lily beamed. You're nicer than Daddy said. James felt his face heat. Lily. But Emma actually laughed, a brief, rusty sound, as if amused. Is that so? Well, your daddy hasn't seen my quarterly budget reviews yet. She nodded to James. See you Monday, Parker. As she jogged away, Lily tugged James's hand. I like her. She's pretty. James watched Emma's retreating figure. She's also very busy and important, sweetheart. Don't expect to see her again. But he was wrong. Emma told herself the detour through the park had been coincidental. She told herself the same thing the following week, and the week after that. Running was part of her routine. The fact that her route now regularly took her past the neighborhood park around 6:30 p.m. was simply efficient path planning. If she sometimes stopped to correct Lily's form or exchange a few words with James, it was merely being polite. It meant nothing that she found herself looking forward to these brief encounters, or that she'd started keeping track of Lily's progress. You're getting much better, she told the child one evening, after Lily completed 3 cartwheels in a row. My teacher says I'm a natural. Lily beamed. Daddy's taking me for ice cream to celebrate. Want to come? Lily, James said gently, Ms. Winters has her run to finish. Emma should have agreed. Should have continued her carefully constructed routine. Instead, she heard herself say, actually, ice cream sounds good after a run. The look of surprise on James's face mirrored her own internal reaction. What was she doing? The small ice cream shop was crowded with families. Emma felt conspicuously out of place in her running clothes, hyper-aware of James beside her as they waited in line. You don't have to do this, he said quietly. Lily will understand. It's fine, Emma replied, though nothing about this felt fine. It felt dangerous, this casual stepping over of boundaries she'd maintained for years. Lily chattered happily about school, gymnastics, her friend's new puppy. Emma found herself responding, asking questions, drawn into the child's uncomplicated enthusiasm. When Lily excused herself to the bathroom, an awkward silence fell between the adults. She's a remarkable child, Emma said finally. James smiled, his face softening. She's everything to me. After Sarah died. Lily was the reason I got up each morning. Sarah was your wife? He nodded. Cancer. It was quick, 6 months from diagnosis to the end. Lily was 6. I'm sorry. The words felt inadequate. James studied her. Can I ask you something personal, Ms. Winters? Emma, she corrected, surprising herself. And it depends on the question. Emma. He tested the name. Why the interest in us? The park, the cartwheels, ice cream, it doesn't fit with the Ice Queen reputation. Emma's smile was tight. Maybe I'm conducting field research on work-life balance. Is that it? Their eyes met, and for a moment, Emma felt an unsettling transparency, as if James could see past her carefully constructed facade. Lily's return saved her from answering. Can we come back tomorrow? They have new flavors next week. We'll see, sweetheart, James said, glancing at Emma. Ms. Winters, Emma, is very busy. I am, Emma agreed, relieved to retreat to familiar territory. But the ice cream was excellent. Thank you both for the company. As she walked home, Emma tried to make sense of her actions. Professional interest in an employee's well-being was one thing. This felt like something else entirely, something she'd sworn to avoid after Daniel. James couldn't figure Emma Winters out. At work, she remained largely the same, demanding, precise, occasionally cutting. But these glimpses of another Emma, the one who taught cartwheels and listened intently to an 8-year-old's stories, fascinated him. "You're playing with fire," Monica warned him over lunch. "Office rumors are starting." "There's nothing to rumor about," James protested. "She's my boss who happens to run through the same park where Lily practices gymnastics." Monica raised an eyebrow. "And the ice cream? A one-time thing." Except it wasn't. The following week, Emma joined them again, this time for pizza after Lily's gymnastics class. The week after that, she appeared at the community pool where James took Lily swimming, coincidentally, there for a lap swim. Each time, Emma maintained a careful distance, friendly to Lily, professional with James. But something was shifting between them, an unspoken connection forming through these shared moments. Then came the school call. Lily had fallen during recess, possibly broken her arm. James rushed from the office, heart pounding. The school nurse had sounded calm, but all he could think about was Lily in pain, scared without him. He was halfway to his car when he realized he'd left his presentation materials for the afternoon client meeting. "Parker." Emma's voice stopped him in the parking lot. "Where are you going?" "The Westfield presentation starts in 30 minutes. It's Lily, she fell at school. Possible broken arm. I need to go." Emma's decision was immediate. "I'll handle Westfield. The presentation materials are on my desk. The blue folder." "I'm sorry." "Just go, James." Something in her use of his first name made him pause. Her expression had softened, concern replacing her usual professional mask. "Take care of Lily. That's what matters." He nodded gratefully and sped to the school, finding Lily in the nurse's office, tear-streaked but brave. The emergency room confirmed a clean break, and Lily emerged hours later with a bright pink cast and instructions for follow-up care. "Can I still do gymnastics?" was her first worried question. "Not for a while, sweetheart," James said gently. "But your arm will heal, and you'll be back to cartwheels before you know it." That evening, as Lily dozed on the couch, the doorbell rang. James opened it to find Emma standing there, looking almost as uncomfortable as he felt surprised. "I thought I'd check on the patient," she said, holding up a gift bag. "And bring the homework you missed." James invited her in, acutely aware of his modest apartment with its mismatched furniture and crayon artwork taped to the walls. Emma seemed to take it all in with a single glance. "How is she?" "Asleep now. Clean break, 6 weeks in a cast." James ran a hand through his hair. "Thank you for covering the presentation. How did it go?" "They signed." Emma's smile was small but genuine. "Your materials were excellent." Lily stirred on the couch, her eyes widening when she spotted Emma. "You came to see me. I heard you had quite an adventure today." Emma approached, sitting carefully on the edge of the coffee table. "I brought you something." The gift bag contained a plush unicorn and a book about a girl gymnast who overcomes an injury. Lily hugged the unicorn immediately. "Thank you. Will you sign my cast?" "Daddy says everyone important should sign it." Something flickered across Emma's face, surprise, perhaps, or something deeper. She accepted the marker James offered and carefully signed her name on the pink plaster. "There. Now you have official CEO approval for your recovery." Lily giggled, then yawned widely. James took the cue. "Time for bed, sweetheart. You need rest to heal that arm." After tucking Lily in, he returned to find Emma examining the family photos on his bookshelf. She turned, looking uncharacteristically hesitant. "You have a beautiful family," she said. "Your wife was lovely." "Yes, she was." James joined her by the shelf, picking up a frame showing Sarah holding newborn Lily. "This was the happiest day of our lives. You must miss her terribly. Every day." James set the photo down. "But it gets, not easier, exactly. Different. You learn to carry it differently. Emma nodded, her fingers tracing the edge of another frame. I should go. Let you rest. Thank you for coming. It meant a lot to Lily. At the door, Emma paused. Take tomorrow off. Lily needs you more than the office does. I can't afford to. It's paid leave, James. Not a suggestion. Her professional tone returned, but her eyes remained soft. The company can survive without you for one day. As she walked to her car, James had the distinct impression he'd glimpsed something rare and carefully guarded, Emma Winter's heart. Emma drove home in confusion. What was she doing? First the park encounters, now house calls. This wasn't like her. She'd spent years building walls between her professional and personal life, maintaining control through distance. Yet something about James Parker and his daughter had slipped past those defenses. Perhaps it was Lily's uninhibited joy, so reminiscent of her own childhood before complications and expectations took over. Or perhaps it was James himself, his quiet strength, the way he'd rebuilt his life around his daughter after unimaginable loss. Emma's apartment felt particularly empty that night. She poured a glass of wine and found herself staring at her phone, at the family group chat she rarely participated in. On impulse, she typed, "How's Sunday for dinner?" Her mother's surprised response came immediately, "We'd love to have you." 6 p.m. Emma set down her phone, unsettled by her own actions. First the Parker family, now reconnecting with her own. Something was changing, and she wasn't sure she was ready for it. Lily's broken arm changed the summer routine. No more gymnastics or swimming, which meant no more coincidental meetings with Emma at the park or pool. James told himself it was for the best. The situation had been growing complicated, boundaries blurring in ways that made him uneasy. Yet he found himself missing those encounters, the glimpses of the woman behind the CEO facade. At work, Emma maintained her usual professional distance, though she regularly asked about Lily's recovery. 3 weeks after the accident, James's babysitter cancelled last minute. With an important client dinner that evening, he was stuck, until Monica suggested he bring Lily to the office for the afternoon. She can color in the conference room, Monica said. We'll all keep an eye on her. The regional office staff welcomed Lily warmly, setting her up with snacks and art supplies. James checked on her between meetings, grateful for his colleagues' understanding. He was in the middle of a conference call when he glanced through the glass wall and froze. Emma Winters had appeared in the doorway of the conference room where Lily was coloring. James watched, unable to hear their conversation, as his daughter chatted animatedly, showing Emma her cast, now covered in signatures, and her drawings. To his astonishment, Emma sat down beside Lily, accepted a crayon, and began drawing something on Lily's paper. They worked together, heads bent close, occasionally laughing. It was such an unexpected sight that James nearly missed a question from the client. When the call ended, he hurried to the conference room, but Emma was already leaving. Your daughter is quite the artist, she said, professional mask back in place. She told me about your client dinner. Will your sitter be arriving soon? That's the problem. She cancelled, and I haven't found a replacement. Emma frowned. The Hendersons are important clients, James. They specifically requested you attend. I know. I'm trying to find a solution. Emma checked her watch, seeming to debate something internally. I could watch her. James stared. You? Is that so shocking? I'm perfectly capable of supervising a child for a few hours. No, you're the CEO. Surely you have more important things to do. I've cleared my evening. Emma's tone was matter-of-fact. Lily and I get along well. Unless you'd prefer to cancel with the Hendersons? Put that way, James had little choice. If you're sure. I am. Emma glanced at Lily, who was watching their exchange with interest. What do you think, Lily? Would you like to have dinner with me while your dad meets with his clients? Lily's enthusiastic agreement settled the matter. James provided Emma with emergency contacts, Lily's medication schedule for her arm pain, and bedtime instructions. We'll be fine, Emma assured him. Go impress the Hendersons. Throughout the client dinner, James found himself checking his phone, expecting problems. Instead, he received occasional texts from Emma. Lily requested mac and cheese. Hope that's allowed. We're watching a movie about a princess with magic ice powers. Lily says you know all the songs. Cast is itchy. Applied lotion around edges per your instructions. The dinner went exceptionally well, the clients agreeing to expand their campaign. James returned home just after 9, both nervous and curious about what he would find. The apartment was quiet when he entered. Emma sat on the couch reading, looking up when he appeared. She fell asleep about 20 minutes ago, Emma said softly. The medication made her drowsy. James peeked into Lily's room, finding his daughter peacefully asleep, her unicorn tucked under her good arm. When he returned to the living room, Emma was gathering her things. Thank you, he said. Truly. The dinner was a success. Good. Emma nodded, all business again. Lily was no trouble. She's a remarkable child, James. She liked spending time with you. She doesn't have many women in her life since Sarah. Something vulnerable flickered in Emma's eyes. I enjoyed it too. More than I expected. The admission seemed to surprise her as much as him. They stood in awkward silence until Emma cleared her throat. I should go. Early meeting tomorrow. At the door, James found himself reluctant to see her leave. Emma? Would you like to have dinner sometime? Just the two of us? The invitation hung between them, changing everything. Emma's expression shifted through surprise, consideration, and finally, regret. I don't think that would be appropriate, James. I'm your boss. Right. Of course. He stepped back, embarrassed. I apologize. Don't. It's... Emma seemed to struggle for words, unusual for her. It's complicated. Good night, James. As she walked away, James wondered if he'd imagined the reluctance in her voice, the moment of hesitation before her refusal. Emma avoided the regional office for the next 2 weeks, sending her assistant for necessary meetings. She told herself it was efficiency, not cowardice. The evening with Lily had affected her more deeply than she'd anticipated, awakening feelings and memories she'd worked hard to suppress. And then James had asked her to dinner. The professional boundary she'd hidden behind had suddenly seemed flimsy, transparent. She'd wanted to say yes, and that terrified her. Sunday dinner with her family provided no escape. Her mother, always perceptive, noticed her distraction. You're somewhere else tonight, Emma. Work troubles? Emma pushed her food around her plate. Just busy. Or is it something else? Her mother's knowing look was unsettling. Someone else? There's no one, Mom. You know I don't have time for relationships. You make time for what matters, Emma. Her mother covered her hand. After Daniel. I don't want to talk about Daniel. The familiar pain surfaced, still sharp after all these years. It's been 10 years, sweetheart. Not everyone will leave when things get difficult. Emma withdrew her hand. I have an early meeting tomorrow. I should go. At home, Emma poured herself a glass of wine and faced the truth she'd been avoiding. She was developing feelings for James Parker, feelings that went beyond professional respect or casual friendship. Feelings that made her vulnerable in ways she'd sworn never to be again. After Daniel had walked away when she needed him most, Emma had rebuilt herself, stronger, independent, impervious to abandonment because she never let anyone close enough to leave. Her career became her focus, her success a shield against loneliness. Now James and Lily Parker were threatening that carefully constructed defense. A widowed father and his brave little girl, a ready-made family with a ready-made space for heartbreak. Emma made her decision. The regional office would report to her CFO going forward. She would maintain professional distance. It was better this way, safer for everyone. James noticed the change immediately. Emma's assistant began handling all regional communications. When James emailed Emma directly about the Henderson campaign, her response was brief and redirected him to another executive. "You scared her off," Monica said over lunch. "The Ice Queen doesn't do feelings." There were no feelings to do, James insisted, though the hollow ache in his chest suggested otherwise. "She's my boss, that's all." "Right. Bosses regularly babysit their employees' children and teach them cartwheels." James sighed. Whatever was happening, it's clearly over now. Lily asked about Emma occasionally, disappointed when her cartwheel teacher stopped appearing at the park. James offered vague explanations about Emma's busy schedule, while privately accepting that their brief connection had been just that, brief. He threw himself into work and parenting, determined to move forward. When Lily's cast came off, they celebrated with ice cream, at a different shop than the one they'd visited with Emma. Life settled into a new routine. The Henderson campaign thrived, earning James recognition throughout the company. Lily started second grade, her arm fully healed. The summer encounters with Emma Winters began to feel like a strange dream. Until the charity gala invitation arrived. Emma stared at the guest list for the annual Children's Hospital Benefit Gala. As major donors, Winters Enterprises always had a prominent table. The marketing team had included James Parker among the attendees. His work on the Henderson campaign had helped secure their sponsorship. She should remove his name. Send someone else from the regional office. It was the sensible choice. Instead, Emma found herself approving the list unchanged. It had been nearly 3 months since their awkward parting. Surely whatever inappropriate feelings had developed had faded by now. She could be professional for one evening. The night of the gala, Emma arrived early, stunning in a midnight blue gown. She greeted board members and donors with practiced charm, keeping one eye on the entrance. James arrived alone, looking handsome if slightly uncomfortable in his tuxedo. Emma watched him from across the room, telling herself she was merely monitoring her employees' networking skills. When he glanced in her direction, she quickly turned away. The evening progressed with speeches and auction items. Emma maintained her distance until she overheard a conversation that made her blood run cold. "Parker's daughter is in the hospital," one of the regional managers was saying. "Emergency appendectomy this afternoon. He almost didn't come tonight." "Why did he?" another asked. "Henderson specifically requested him. Career-making opportunity." Emma moved through the crowd until she reached James, who was speaking with the Hendersons but clearly distracted, checking his phone every few minutes. "James," she interrupted smoothly. "I need to borrow you for a moment. Mr. and Mrs. Henderson, I promise to return him shortly." She led James to a quiet corner. "Your daughter is in the hospital?" Surprise flickered across his face. "Yes. Appendicitis. They operated this afternoon. And you're here instead of with her?" "The Hendersons can wait." Emma's voice was firm. "James, go to your daughter. I can't just leave this account. I'll handle the Hendersons." When he hesitated, Emma added softly, "Lily needs you more than this company does. Go." Relief washed over his face. "Thank you, Emma." She watched him hurry toward the exit, something tightening in her chest. Without allowing herself to overthink, Emma followed him. "James, wait." She caught up to him in the lobby. "Which hospital?" "Memorial Children's." "Why?" "I'm coming with you." His surprise was evident. You don't have to do that. I know. Emma met his gaze steadily. I want to. The hospital corridors were quiet at that hour. James led Emma to Lily's room, where his daughter lay sleeping, small and pale against the white sheets. The babysitter who had brought Lily to the emergency room rose from her chair, surprised to see them both in formal attire. She's been sleeping since the pain medication, the young woman whispered. The doctor said everything went well. James thanked and dismissed her, then moved to Lily's bedside, gently taking her hand. Emma hung back, suddenly uncertain of her place in this intimate family moment. You can come closer, James said softly. She'd be happy to know you're here. Emma approached the bed, her gala gown incongruous in the sterile hospital room. She looks so small. I should have been here. James's voice was tight with guilt. Not at some gala. You're here now. Emma hesitated, then placed her hand on his shoulder. That's what matters. They stood in silence, watching Lily's peaceful breathing. After a while, James spoke again. Why did you come, Emma? Really? She could have offered a professional explanation. Could have maintained the distance she'd so carefully created. Instead, looking at Lily's vulnerable form, Emma found herself unwilling to hide behind pretense. Because I care about her. She met James's gaze. About both of you. The admission hung between them, changing everything. James reached up, covering her hand on his shoulder with his own. I've missed you, he said simply. These past months. We both have. Before Emma could respond, Lily stirred, her eyes fluttering open. She blinked groggily, focusing first on her father, then on Emma. A slow smile spread across her face. You're wearing a princess dress, she murmured. Emma laughed softly. I suppose I am. Are you here for my appendix party? Yes, sweetheart. Emma, yes, sweetheart. Emma moved closer to the bed. I wouldn't miss your appendix party. Lily's smile widened despite her grogginess. Daddy said you were too busy for us now. James winced, but Emma's expression remained gentle. I thought I needed to be busy. I was wrong. Lily drifted back to sleep, her small hand now holding Emma's. James watched them, the sight stirring emotions he'd kept carefully contained these past months. You should change, Emma said after a while, gesturing to his tuxedo. I can stay with her if you want to go home quickly. Are you sure? Yes. We'll be fine. When James returned an hour later in jeans and a sweater, he found Emma still beside Lily's bed, her elegant gown replaced by scrubs borrowed from the nurse's station. She looked up as he entered, a soft smile on her face. The nurse came by. Everything looks good, they'll probably release her tomorrow afternoon. James set down the bag he'd brought. You changed. The dress was a bit much for a hospital room. Emma smoothed the blue scrubs self-consciously. The head nurse took pity on me. It's a good look on you. Their eyes met, and something shifted between them, a barrier dissolving, a truth acknowledged. James took the chair beside her, their shoulders almost touching. Emma, about what you said earlier. I meant it. Her voice was quiet but steady. I care about you both. More than I should, more than I planned to. Why is that a problem? Emma stared at her hands. The last time I cared this much about someone, it ended badly. Very badly. Daniel? James asked gently. Surprise flickered across her face. How did you? Office gossip. I don't know details, just that there was someone. Emma was silent for a long moment. We were engaged. I was 25, just starting to climb the corporate ladder. Then my father died suddenly, heart attack. My mother fell apart, my younger brother was still in college. I became responsible for everything. She took a deep breath. Daniel didn't sign up for that. He wanted the ambitious, carefree woman he'd proposed to, not someone burdened with family responsibilities and grief. He left 6 weeks after the funeral. I'm sorry. It was a valuable lesson. Emma's smile was brittle. Career doesn't leave. Success doesn't abandon you when things get messy. Neither do I, James said quietly. That's not who I am, Emma. She met his gaze, vulnerability and hope warring in her expression. I know. That's what terrifies me. Before he could respond, Lily stirred again, saving Emma from the intensity of the moment. The child's needs provided a welcome distraction, and by unspoken agreement, they set the conversation aside. Throughout the night, they took turns dozing in the uncomfortable hospital chairs. By morning, something had changed between them, a tentative trust building in the shared vigil. When the doctor arrived to check Lily, Emma excused herself. I should go home, change for work. Of course. James walked her to the door. Emma, thank you for staying. Call me when she's released. Let me know how she's doing. I will. Emma hesitated, then impulsively leaned forward and kissed his cheek. Get some rest, James. As she walked away, Emma felt lighter than she had in years, as if a weight she'd carried since Daniel had finally begun to lift. Lily recovered quickly, her resilience astonishing the doctors. Emma called daily for updates, and when Lily was released, a large stuffed elephant was delivered to their apartment with a card signed simply, E. 2 days later, Emma appeared at their door with soup and fresh bread. I thought you might need a break from cooking. James invited her in, watching as Lily excitedly showed Emma her appendix surgery stickers from the hospital. They ate together at the small kitchen table, the conversation flowing easily, naturally, as if Emma had always been part of their evenings. After Lily went to bed, they sat on the couch, a comfortable silence between them. I've been thinking, Emma said finally. About what you asked me, before. Dinner, just the two of us. James turned to face her. And? My answer is yes. If you're still interested. His smile was answer enough. How's Saturday? Saturday is perfect. Their first official date was nothing like Emma had expected. Instead of an elegant restaurant, James took her hiking in the state park, a picnic packed in his backpack. Lily helped make the sandwiches, he admitted as they settled on a blanket overlooking the lake. She was very invested in this date going well. Emma laughed, more relaxed than she'd been in years. Away from the office, in jeans and a sweater, she felt like a different person, or perhaps more like herself than she'd allowed herself to be in a decade. She's not the only one, Emma admitted, accepting the sandwich he offered. I've been nervous about this all week. The formidable Emma Winters, nervous about a date with me? James's teasing smile made her heart skip. I find that hard to believe. Believe it. I haven't done this in a long time. Dating. Opening up to someone. We can go as slowly as you need. Emma met his gaze. What if I don't want to go slowly? The question hung between them, charged with meaning. James set down his sandwich and moved closer on the blanket. Then we don't go slowly, he said softly, his hand finding hers. When he kissed her, Emma felt something long dormant awakening inside her, hope, possibility, the future expanding beyond the narrow focus of career and success. 3 months later, Emma stood in the doorway of her office, watching James approach. The regional team had been relocated to headquarters the previous month, a business decision, she insisted, though everyone knew better. Ready for lunch? James asked, stopping at her assistant's desk. Almost. Emma gathered her purse. Lily's meeting us at the restaurant? Monica's bringing her. They had a shopping expedition for school supplies. As they walked through the office, Emma was acutely aware of the curious glances. Their relationship was an open secret now, though they maintained professional boundaries at work. The board meeting went well this morning, James said as they waited for the elevator. Henderson is expanding their contract again. I heard. Excellent work, Mr. Parker. The elevator doors opened, revealing several employees who nodded respectfully. Emma and James stepped inside, maintaining a professional distance until the doors closed and they were alone. James immediately took her hand. 3 more hours until I can kiss you. Emma smiled, squeezing his fingers. The sacrifices we make for professionalism. At the restaurant, Lily was already waiting, chattering excitedly about her new school supplies. Emma listened attentively, still amazed at how completely this child had captured her heart. And Ms. Monica helped me pick a special folder for my gymnastics competition schedule, Lily explained between bites of pasta. Emma, you're still coming, right? I wouldn't miss it, sweetheart. I've already blocked the entire day on my calendar. James watched them, his expression soft. Later, as Lily went to examine the dessert display, he took Emma's hand across the table. Move in with us, he said suddenly. Emma blinked, caught off guard. What? Move in with us, James repeated. You're at our place most nights anyway. Lily adores you. And I. He paused, his eyes serious. I love you, Emma. I want to build a life with you. Emma felt her heart racing. It was fast, they'd only been dating 3 months. Yet it also felt right, inevitable even. The walls she'd built after Daniel had crumbled completely, replaced by something stronger, trust, partnership, family. Yes, she said simply. Yes, I'll move in with you. James's smile was radiant. Really? Really? Emma leaned across the table and kissed him, not caring who might see. I love you too, James. You and Lily, you've changed everything for me. Lily returned to the table, eyeing them suspiciously. Why are you kissing at lunch? You said that was for home only. Emma laughed, making room for Lily to sit beside her. We're celebrating, sweetheart. I'm going to be moving into your apartment. Lily's eyes widened. For real? Forever? For as long as you'll have me, Emma promised. Forever then, Lily declared with a child's certainty. Daddy, does this mean Emma's my mom now? The question hung in the air, loaded with meaning. James looked to Emma, letting her take the lead. I could never replace your mom, Lily, Emma said gently. Your mom will always be your mom. But I would be honored to be a second mom to you, if that's what you want. Lily considered this seriously. Can I still call you Emma? Of course. But sometimes, maybe, I could call you Mom Emma? When I feel like it? Emma felt tears threatening. I would love that, sweetheart. James reached across the table, taking both their hands in his. I think this calls for dessert. 6 months later, Emma stood in the back of a crowded gymnasium, watching Lily prepare for her floor routine at the regional gymnastics competition. James squeezed her hand, sensing her nervousness. She'll be fine, he whispered. She's been practicing for months. I know. I just want it to go perfectly for her. The announcer called Lily's name, and they both held their breath as the 8-year-old walked confidently to the center of the mat. The music began, and Lily launched into her routine, including the perfect cartwheels Emma had taught her in the park what seemed like a lifetime ago. When Lily stuck her final pose, the crowd erupted in applause. Emma cheered loudest of all, tears streaming down her face as Lily searched the crowd and waved directly at her. That's my girl, Emma whispered, then caught herself. Our girl. James wrapped his arm around her waist. Yes, she is. Later that evening, as they celebrated Lily's third-place ribbon with ice cream, Emma watched James and Lily laughing together and marveled at how completely her life had transformed. 2 years ago, she had been the ice queen of Winter's Enterprises, isolated by choice, protected by walls of her own making. Now she was part of a family, loved and loving in return. "What are you thinking about?" James asked, noticing her contemplative expression. Emma smiled, taking his hand. "About how seeing you with another woman changed everything." James looked confused. "Another woman?" "Lily," Emma explained. "That day in the park, when I saw you with her, it was the first crack in my armor. Watching you with your daughter made me see the man behind the employee." Understanding dawned on his face. "And here I thought it was my brilliant marketing strategies that won you over." "Those helped," Emma teased. "But it was Lily's cartwheels that sealed the deal." Lily looked up from her ice cream. "Are you talking about me?" "Always," Emma assured her, brushing a strand of hair from the child's face. "We were just saying how lucky we are to have you." "And how lucky I am to have both of you," Lily declared with ice cream-smeared certainty. "Even if Emma makes me eat vegetables and Daddy snores." They laughed together, a family forged not by blood but by choice, by love, by the courage to open hearts long closed. Later that night, as Lily slept and James and Emma sat on the balcony of their new, larger apartment, Emma rested her head on his shoulder. "Thank you," she said softly. "For what?" "For not giving up on me. For showing me that vulnerability isn't weakness." James kissed her forehead. "Thank you for being brave enough to try again. I know how hard that was for you." Emma looked up at the stars, thinking of all the paths that had led to this moment, the demotion, the park encounters, the hospital night that had finally broken through her defenses. "Sometimes the best things happen when we least expect them," she murmured. "Like falling in love with your boss?" James teased. "Like finding a family when you'd convinced yourself you didn't need one." Emma turned to face him. "I was wrong about so many things, James. I thought success meant never needing anyone. I thought loving someone meant risking everything. And now? Now I know that the real risk was never loving at all." Emma smiled, her heart full. "The real success is this, us, Lily, the life we're building together." James pulled her closer. "I couldn't agree more." As they sat together under the night sky, Emma Winters, once the ice queen of the corporate world, felt warmer and more complete than she ever had behind her desk. The woman who had once defined herself by professional achievements now measured success differently, by a child's laughter, by a partner's touch, by the courage to love without reservation. The CEO had indeed ignored the single dad, until seeing him with another woman changed everything. And in that change, Emma had found not weakness, but strength, not vulnerability, but power, not an ending, but a beginning. If you enjoyed this emotional journey of love, family, and second chances, please hit that like button and subscribe to our channel for more heartwarming stories that remind us what truly matters in life. Sometimes the most beautiful transformations happen when we least expect them, and the walls we build to protect ourselves are the very things keeping us from the happiness we deserve. Thank you for watching, and we'll see you in our next video.